From failures to belief. Oprah, Caitlin Clark share stories at Massachusetts Women's Conference. Oprah Winfrey doesn't get imposter syndrome. But as she looked out over the crowd of more than 11,000 people, mostly women, in Boston on Thursday, she said she doesn't think they should either. "The reason why I have never felt like an imposter is because I am so spiritually grounded. My being here is no accident," she said. Her mother and father never got married and only had sex one time, which led to her, she told the crowd. "For years I was called the bastard kid, illegitimate kid. People tried to make me feel like I definitely did not belong. But my spiritual reckoning allowed me to see that I come from something greater than myself," she said. Winfrey, her best friend and co-host of CBS Mornings, Gayle King, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, Gail Devers, Beverly Johnson, and Caitlin Clark were all keynote speakers at the Massachusetts Conference for Women held on Thursday at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. It was the 20th anniversary of the event. The theme was power and unity. Keynote speakers talked about relationship building in the workplace, what it means to be a team, and how their failures led to where they are today. There were also many sessions from other women leaders in Massachusetts, including those on work-life balance, supporting caregivers in the workplace, and effectively managing hybrid teams. Gloria Larson, Massachusetts Conference for Women board president, said she wanted people to leave with new information they can take back to their workplaces and to feel inspired in their careers. "We want people to have the best experience possible while they're here," she said. "I call it a spa day for professional women because it feels like that for me too." Getting Winfrey, Clark, and others as keynote speakers for their 20th anniversary was a home run, Larson said. Winfrey encouraged the people in the room that they should look to only receive validation from themselves, not the world, and to trust your gut. "The reason why you are born is because you have something that nobody else has to share, and you can do that in a way that nobody else can. A lot of times people are looking for this big grand idea of what your purpose is. Your purpose isn't out there. Your purpose is always right here. It's right here," she said. "Mistakes can also push you forward," Clark, a professional basketball player, said Thursday. She recalled her sophomore year at Iowa when her team unexpectedly lost to a team ranked much lower. But she firmly believes they wouldn't have made it as far the next couple of years if they hadn't have lost and found that power. "The sun comes up the next day," her mom reminded her after the loss. And it did, as the team made it to finals both years. Plus, Clark became the leading all-time scorer in NCAA Division I history and broke audience records. During the tournament, a record 14.2 million people tuned in to watch Iowa's win over UConn, according to the Associated Press. She talked about other times she failed as she often played sports against boys growing up or girls who were older than her. She said it was important that her parents let her fail and that it helped build up her confidence. She said she sees confidence as the biggest thing young girls struggle with, and it can continue into adulthood. "People would kill to be a professional basketball player," she recognized. "But there are people who would kill to have the jobs many in the audience have too," she said. "Remind yourself how lucky you are," she encouraged. "That usually puts a smile on my face," she said. "Although it's less than a quarter of the attendees now, we were thrilled," Larson said. "It showed the need for a conference like this," she said. And it continued to grow. Over the years, she's seen changes in what women want, and the conference has changed with them. "Early on, it had much more to do with how do I develop and retain my career skills and move up the ladder, the proverbial career ladder. And these days, I think, especially with Generation Z, that we're seeing women who are interested to have a more scattershot plotline, perhaps in their career, that they're willing if a place they're working isn't giving them the satisfaction level, or helping to promote them and offer them the skills they need to succeed, that they might be willing to transfer to other places in ways that they didn't before," Larson said. She also sees more issues with people feeling anxious and stressed that is permeating into the workplace. "So, if we can offer coping ideas and approaches for younger women as well as women in other positions," she said. Larson always encourages women to look at their career to see if it's really serving them and to not stay in the same place if it's not. She's also continues to encourage women to use their voice in the workplace and to know that they belong there, something she didn't think she'd still be saying 20 years later. I thought the nut we would crack 20 years ago was the imposter syndrome because I have it, and most women I know of my generation have it, in part because we were the only ones in the room, often, she said. Having said that, it's still a problem for young women. I see it all the time. Caitlin Clark attacked by Outkick founder Clay Travis over controversial, white privilege comments. Caitlin Clark understands that there's a legacy that she's following in the footsteps of when she joined the WNBA. But when she chose to acknowledge those who built the league she's dominating, some who initially heralded her success grew angry. After being named Time magazine's Athlete of the Year, Clark praised Black women who helped grow the league into what it is now at a gala dinner in New York on Wednesday. I feel like I always have had good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad, and then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career, Clark told NBC Sports host Maria Taylor, who moderated their conversation. But I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. My favorite player was Maya Moore. I know what this league was about. It's only been around 25 plus years, and so I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them is very important, and that's something I'm very aware of. In her interview for the article published in Time, Clark also recognized that, as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been Black players. This league has kind of been built on them. Clay Travis, the founder of conservative sports site Outkick, reposted a video of Clark at the gala and shamed her for her comments. Caitlin Clark has been bombarded with criticism from right-wing voices for her acknowledgement of the Black players who built the WNBA and her own white privilege. If Caitlin Clark insists on thanking people for the WNBA legacy she joined, why doesn't she thank the NBA players who have spent 25 years subsidizing the WNBA, a league that has still never made a single dollar in profit? Travis wrote in a series of tweets. He continued, the WNBA had a big decision to make with the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. They could let her take the WNBA to her level of popularity or drag her down to theirs.